Hello, dear one. So today will be a little different, as you can see in my setting. It's not my usual room because I'm more in a mode of reflection today, and something happened to me this week that really triggered me. And I know as INFPs can deal with a lot of things. And for me, this week is the feeling of being too much. Not that somebody has said that. I did something, or I thought I was doing something that triggered that feeling that somebody's gonna feel like I'm being too much. So if that is something that you yourself struggle with, then this is gonna be a great video. I'm in this room and this setting, and recording in this way, it helps me reflect. When I am in my usual recording room, I tend to be in more of a teaching mode, a sort of working mode. So it's not really easy for me to think through my thoughts in that environment. So I take myself in spaces that I feel that's what I usually do there. And in this room, this is where I usually sit down and just think and look outside to the trees and the wind and just think through my thoughts. So I have a few of my notes here to guide me, because I also want to share something that I came across recently that I thought was so beautifully written. I could never say it in a perfect way. So instead, I'm going to quote somebody and put her website in the description so you can go and check out. I'm going to credit her because it's not my work, okay? This poem, I think it's a poem, but I would just say it's a piece of writing. It's been written by, and I hope I don't butcher her name, it's Ev'Yan Whitney. So the piece says, "There she is, the too much woman, the one who loves too hard, feels too deeply, asks too often, desires too much. There she is, taking up too much space with her laughter, her curves, her honesty, her sexuality. Her presence is all tall as a tree, as wide as a mountain. Her energy occupies every crevice of the room. Too much space she takes. There she is, causing a ruckus with a persistent wanting, too much wanting. She desires a lot, wants everything, too much happiness, too much alone time, too much pleasure. She will go through brimstone, murky river, and hellfire to get it. She will risk all to quell the longings of her heart and body. This makes her dangerous. She is dangerous. And there she goes, that too much woman, making people think too much, feel too much, soon too much. She with her authentic prose, and a self-assuredness in the way she carries herself. She with her belly laughs and her insatiable appetite and her proneness to fiery passion. All eyes on her, thinking she's hot poop. She's hot shit. I just don't usually say that word. But I want to actually say it properly how she said it. Oh, that too much woman. Too loud, too vibrant, too honest, too emotional, too smart, too intense, too pretty, too difficult, too sensitive, too wild, too intimidating, too successful, too fat, too strong, too political, too joyous, too needy, too much. She should simmer down a bit, be taken down a notch. Actually, she says, be taken down a couple notches. Someone should put her back in her more respectable place. Someone should tell her, here I am, a too much woman with my too tender heart and my too much emotions. A hedonist, feminist, pleasure seeker, empath. I want a lot. Justice, sincerity, spaciousness, ease, intimacy, actualization, respect, to be seen, to be understood, your undivided attention, and all your promises to be kept. I've been called high maintenance because I want what I want, and intimidating because of the space I occupy. I've been called selfish because I'm self-loving. I've been called a witch because I know how to heal myself. And still, I rise. Still, I want and feel and ask and risk and take up space. I must. It's just a part of it. There's more. It's so beautiful. Even as I'm reading, I can feel goosebumps in my body because it really spoke to me about the trigger I was having this week. And I know us INFPs are complex people. We have depth. We go down rabbit holes. As INFPs, we can almost have or be little experts in different subjects, right? So sometimes we can come up as too much, too knowing, right? And I kind of had that feeling this week. I belong to quite a lot of business groups. And sometimes, I don't even know how to kind of put this in a way, because I'm trying to work through the thoughts in my head and the feeling I had and bring them together to kind of have a clear idea of what I want to say and what I want to share. And I'm not sure it's going to come out perfectly, but hopefully you'll bear with me, okay? I realized I caught myself. I had a feeling that, oh, Doreca, you're being too much. You're showing you're too knowledgeable in this subject. You're asking too many questions. You are too intense right now. I had one of those moments this week because I'm going through so many changes, and I will share this in a future video. I'm doing a whole overhaul with what I do with the business, because the more clarity I'm getting about things that really align for me is the things I want to focus on right now. I want to be intentional with those things. And so because I'm going through so many changes, I'm belonging to so many groups to make sure that they are all aligned, because that's not usually my strength. I have so many pieces that sometimes I can struggle to see them aligned. So I belong in so many groups that will help me bring the picture together. And because I'm going through the change, I'm probing and I'm asking questions. I'm spending a lot of time. This is why so many of my recent videos, my voice is cracking up, because I am feeling like in my body I'm tired. Not because I'm doing a whole lot, because I'm thinking a whole lot and it's exhausting to my body. And I caught myself having that moment this week where I was thinking, you won't be liked. You are overthinking things, and people don't like people who are know-it-all, right? Just because I was asking questions, it felt like I was taking too much space. And nobody really particularly said anything. And this is why I sense it was a trigger more than an experience that was actually happening. It was a trigger to a narrative that I believe I hold, that Doreca, be small. Nobody is gonna like you if you are too much, like you really are. If people see how too much you are, how intense you can be, how demanding you can be because you hold. And this is why I wanted to read that poem, because it's so beautiful, because the things that she shares in that piece are beautiful things. They're not bad. But if you are asking of them from someone who is not willing or doesn't have the capability to give them, the best that they can come back with is you're being too much. It's not them that they don't have the capability to give it, or the environment to give it, or it's not the right time for them to give it. It's you. You are too much. And so I bought into that idea. And I know for us INFPs, I'm pretty sure we can relate to this. Being the free-spirited people that we are, having the moral compass that we do, having depth in our thoughts and how we can think deeply. And I've seen so many of you say, I think I'm overthinking things. Where do we get that from? Who decides where's the right mark for you thinking about accurately and appropriately for this matter, and you're overthinking now and you're underthinking now? Who decides these things? And so I had to catch myself thinking that. And even I think in the moment, I was trying to, and I don't want to use that word, but maybe I can, almost show that I didn't know as much as I knew, because I didn't want to lose that connection. Oh, I perceived maybe I may lose that connection, maybe because it has happened in the past that you show you know too much and people feel like, oh, well, she thinks she knows it all. You're stuck up. Comment below and let me know if you can relate to that. If you've actually caught yourself, because I think in the past I may not have caught myself wanting to make myself small so that I can belong or not trigger something I don't want. Because I think because I'm going through so many of these changes, I don't really want to not get the help that I need in these groups, okay? I belong to about 3 different groups right now, and I want to be able to get most out of them. And I think part of that in my mind is get along with people. They're going to want to help you. If you rub people the wrong way, you might not get out of this situation the best that you can, and that would defeat the purpose of you being here. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't know how to be with people, but I wonder, where do we draw the line with just being ourselves and being passionate and being the too much person, being too much as INFPs, and show up authentically and at the same time relate and collaborate and connect with people? Let me know in the comment section if you can relate, if that has been a struggle, or if you're in a place where you're able to observe yourself, being the observer. And I will probably teach on this a little bit in the future. This is mindfulness practice, learning to be an observer of something that is happening. I could observe myself that trigger as it was happening. I could observe myself being tempted to make myself small so that I can connect and not ruffle the feathers. I could observe myself being mindful of that feeling or that trigger. Maybe you're being too much. This too much woman as Ev'Yan described her, the piece I just read to you. And so that is the practice I do for me. I take the time and observe and then make a decision. Do I want to continue to show up as that INFP that is too much? Do I water it down and not? And I think at this point, I'm going to choose to just continue to show up. Even as I am sharing this is pretty much what the process would have been like in me writing this in a journal, is then to read back and realize, what do you want to do? What is your intention? And it's really to be really intentional. That's why I'm doing all the changes with the business too. I'm being really intentional right now. This feels for me in my career, and I will share this again in the future. It's just I've been working on so much content that I want to share, but I never have enough time to record everything. It's just so much is happening. But I've been drawing this wheel of what I think this cycle looks like, and it has seasons that I usually draw a lot from nature. That's the thing that makes sense to me the most. So it's the metaphor I like to use. And I feel right now in my career, I went through a lot of winter time, and I feel I am more in the spring season where new things are coming forward, but I'm also putting in the ground some things that I want to grow in the future. And I will probably share a little bit more of the actual cycle, what I think is going on with us, and the things that I actually want to see moving forward that I can offer to you and see if it's something that will align with you. But this is pretty much more of my self-awareness kind of series, and we've been doing a few of these, and this is mine today. This is my reflection or reflective process of the triggers that came up for me, and I think I'm not alone as an INFP going through these times of evaluation and maybe coming across into the world as being too much. So I hope you have a process that helps you close the loop and not just kind of continuing that. If you do, I'll be really interested to hear what that process is for you. For me today, when I finish recording this, I will most likely write it down in a journal so that I can just mark it as something that has come up for me and see in the future how it has developed. So that is all that I wanted to share today. I just wanted to share from the heart and wanted to share that struggle and see if it's something that you also go through and how you actually process it when you recognize any triggers that come up for you. Okay? So as we always say on this channel, focus on your being than your doing. And until next time, may you have a rested life.